The following program contains themes and images that may not be suitable for most audiences. Viewer discretion is advised.
Don't forget to follow us on social media at Panda Pig Inc. Rate, review, and subscribe. And now we will move on to our true crime segment with Wikipedia.
Yes.
What you got for today, my dear?
Alrighty, so I'm not going to reveal the connection until the end of it, okay?
Okay. Let's see this take.
Okay.
And action.
So, class, if you open up the PowerPoint to slide 1,
To side 1,
you will see the beautiful Adrienne Shelly.
Adrienne Shelly.
She's an actress.
I was about to say, I'm like, this looks like an actress.
Mm-hmm. Have you seen the movie Waitress?
I've heard a lot about it. Isn't that also a musical?
Yes.
Yeah.
So
I've never actually seen it or anything.
She wrote, co-starred in, and directed it.
Wow, multi-talented.
A multi-talented queen. We love a multi-talented
queen. We love multi-talented queens.
So, quick bio. She was born June 24th, 1966.
Oh.
And her stage name is Adrienne Shelly, but her born name is Adrienne Levine, I don't know.
Interesting.
American actress, film director, screenwriter.
Okay.
You know,
Yeah.
So, and as you know, I mentioned Waitress,
Yes.
now a Broadway show, okay?
Yes.
So, on November 1st, 2006, at around 9:30, Andy Ostroy, her husband, drops off Adrienne at the Abingdon Square apartment in Manhattan's West Village. She uses this apartment as an office. Okay. She didn't reach out to Andy all day, though, so he starts getting concerned at around 5:45 p.m.
At least he gets concerned. I appreciate that.
So he goes to the apartment building, and he asks, I can't remember if it was the doorman or the superintendent,
But he has someone
to come up to the apartment with him.
Okay.
So he goes in the apartment, and the front door is unlocked. And he goes in the bathroom, and he sees Adrienne hanging from the shower rod
Oh my god.
over the bathtub
Oh my god.
with a bed sheet around her neck.
Oh my god.
So the door was unlocked.
That's horrifying.
Yep. Absolutely horrible. Like, can you imagine?
That sounds like a lot of work, too.
You just drop off your wife just to do some work, and you come back to your apartment, and you see this scene, like out of a horror movie.
That is terrible. That doesn't even sound real. This is real?
This is real. 2006.
Oh my god.
The door was unlocked.
How old was she?
So this was 2006. She was 40.
She's 40.
Mm-hmm. And they have a 2.5-year-old.
Oh my god.
Sophie.
I don't think she killed herself.
So the door was unlocked and money was missing from the apartment.
Oh yeah, she did not kill herself.
So the New York Police Department would not agree with you initially. They believed that she took her own life because the autopsy found that she died as a result of neck compression.
Okay.
Andy refused to believe this. He's like, there's no way Adrienne killed herself. She was happy in both her personal and professional life.
Right.
So, this was 2006. Waitress didn't come out till 2007, so she was waiting to hear back about Waitress being accepted at Sundance Film Festival.
Okay, so, wow, okay.
So she wrote, co-starred, and directed this film, and she never got to see it released.
Wait, the film? She
Yeah.
didn't even get to see the film?
No, it didn't release until 2007.
I thought we were talking about the Broadway for that.
No, the
So
movie
the
movie
Oh
came
my
out in
God.
2007. She didn't even get to see it, and it was so popular.
So the Broadway one came out way later.
Oh yeah, that's within the last so many years.
Okay.
Yeah, so she didn't even get to see, like, the fruits of her labor.
Oh my, I hate when that happens.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my
So-
god.
So everyone says that she was, like, just so full of life and so aware of her mortality, but not in a creepy way, in a way of like, you never know if you're gonna have tomorrow.
Yeah, like she looks so happy in
She's
this
very
picture.
full of life. If you look at the next page, you see the picture of her daughter, and her husband.
Yeah, they look happy.
Mm-hmm.
The daughter's adorable.
I know. Her name is Sophie. She's 2.5 years old.
That's so sad.
And she loved being a mom.
That's sad.
Yeah, so he's like, there's no way she killed herself.
Right.
So they're persistent. They push it. And the police actually listen. And,
wow.
And they take another look at the crime scene. And they see on the toilet next to her body, there's a sneaker print that's in gypsum dust. And the print was matched.
Gypsum dust is.
It's like you find at like a construction site. I think it's in like drywall or something.
Okay.
Don't quote me on that.
All right.
So the print that they found in the bathroom, it matched another set of prints in the building where there was construction going on.
Yeah.
The construction was going on the day that she died. So the shoe print
could have came from a construction worker.
Yep. So the investigators go to the building owner, Luis Hernandez.
Okay.
And they're like, look, clearly whoever's doing this is wearing these type of shoes. Right. Do you know anybody like that? And he's like, well, there is a guy who wears sneakers to work, but there's no way he could have done it. Like, he's a good kid,
That's what they all say.
Mm-hmm. So, on November 6th, 2006...
So how much time has passed since they found her body?
5 days.
Okay, 5 days later.
Mm-hmm. Diego Pilco, a 19-year-old man, is arrested. Okay?
Okay.
Pilco is an Ecuadorian immigrant. He's in the States illegally, but he's working for Bradford General Contractors, which is the company that's doing the construction in the building.
Okay.
Pilco, he lived with his cousin. He worked 6 days a week in construction, and even on his days off, he was working as a superintendent.
So he's a workaholic.
Mm-hmm. But he's working hard because when he had to pay coyotes to bring him into the U.S., so he owed money. So he's working hard to pay off that debt.
He has a lot of debt. That sucks.
Yes.
That's never hard. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's never easy. It's always hard.
No. It's a really tough situation to be in. So once he's in custody, Diego confesses to staging Adrienne's death to look like a suicide.
What?
In his first confession, Diego says that Adrienne complained of the noise from the bottom floor.
I was about to say, I feel like it has something to do with her complaining.
From the construction, right?
Yeah.
Diego says that they argued, and he threw a hammer at her.
Oh, shit.
And so she comes down on the floor where they're doing the construction. Let's say she's complaining. They're arguing. He throws a hammer at her, and she walks away. So he's scared that she's going to complain and that he's going to get deported.
Yeah.
He's working so hard
because he just threw the hammer, even though it didn't hit her.
Yeah. He said he was having a bad day.
He was just having a bad day, and she just caught him on a bad night.
I just want to say, even on my bad days, I'm not necessarily throwing hammers at people.
I ain't gonna throw a hammer. Maybe I'll throw someone, but I ain't gonna throw a hammer at you.
No.
So did he strangle her?
So he follows her back to the apartment.
Because he's scared.
Mm-hmm. So he says that Adrienne hit him. Now, Adrienne, look at her. She's this little thing. He says he hit her, or she hit him, and there was a struggle, and that resulted in her falling and dying from the fall.
Wait. What were they on, like stairs or something?
I couldn't find a specific description of where, but I'm assuming it's in the apartment.
Okay.
So,
jeez.
The second story he gives is that while he was on a break in the construction, Adrienne was coming into her apartment and he followed her. He assaulted her, leaving her unconscious, faking the suicide.
Just 'cause.
I'm guessing that's the second confession.
No, what the hell?
Right? So
the first one made more sense. The second one
Bro.
Well, you know what? I will have
Sound like a stalker.
I have to contradict you here because
Okay.
the second one is actually more in line with the evidence than the first one.
Wow.
Because there wasn't any dust found on Adrienne's shoes, and she wasn't even wearing any shoes. So if she had gone down,
she would have had dust.
she would have had the dust on her shoes, but there's nothing. So it's more consistent that he
followed her,
came to the apartment.
So he was stalking her, and he was probably like, "Oh, famous lady."
But here's the most messed up part.
Okay.
What he didn't know was that when he hung Adrienne, she was still alive.
Oh my god.
She was just unconscious.
Oh my god.
So if he would have not staged the suicide, she would have survived.
Wow.
Yeah.
So he thought when he assaulted her
that she was dead.
Why did he even assault her in the first place?
So, Pilko pleads guilty to first-degree manslaughter.
Okay.
And he's sentenced to 25 years. So, people are kind of upset at first because why wasn't he charged with first-degree murder or whatever?
Right.
Well, just because of the nature of the crimes where he thought she was already dead, blah, blah, blah. The prosecution felt they had a better chance of maintaining this conviction than had they gone to court and he could plead down to an even lesser charge.
So they were just trying to get the most out of the situation.
Yeah. So at Pilko's sentencing, March 13th, 2008, so 2 years later after she's dead.
Okay.
He gave a third story.
Oh my gosh.
So here's some information when it comes to how people are convicted.
Okay.
So initially, someone's arrested, they're charged with a crime.
Right.
Then they have this thing called an initial appearance.
Okay.
That's when they show up and the judge determines whether or not they're gonna be put on bail or whether they're gonna stay in custody, and they set a date for court.
That's why it takes so long. The whole process takes forever.
So they set
paperwork.
They set a date for court, and that's the trial. Okay?
Right.
Then you can be convicted at the trial.
Right.
But you don't get sentenced. You don't know what time you're going to get yet. Because there is certain information that is allowed to get into a trial. Like sometimes they'll throw it out. They'll say that's not relevant.
Yeah.
But at the sentencing, since someone's convicted, they can consider evidence that couldn't make it into trial to determine what someone's sentence is. So at this third kind of court case is the sentencing. So this is why at this time he's providing another confession, because he's hoping that this confession will
help him.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So he's already convicted. He's going to get something.
Okay.
But this will determine how much.
Hopefully I don't get as much this time. Okay. So what does he say?
So he says that he wanted to rob her instead, and that when Adrienne caught him, he attacked her, and then he tied the sheet around her neck to choke her and hung her from the curtain rod. But this doesn't really make sense because she was unconscious.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he gets sentenced anyway. At the sentencing, though, here's the saddest part, and my hope is to make you cry.
Oh, what the hell?
I'm just kidding.
The evil.
So, Adrienne's husband and the family members at the trial say that they'll never forgive him. At the sentencing, sorry. And at the sentencing, the victims of the crime or the families of the victims can provide these things called called victim statements.
Okay.
And this is basically where they can speak directly to the judge or to the defendant. Just kind of saying what they think, and these things are considered in the sentencing.
Just so they can get closure for themselves?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And it's also included to show how much damage that person has done by committing that crime.
Yeah. By them hoping that it shows hey, you are a shitty person.
Mm-hmm. So he says, these are just a collection of some quotes.
Okay.
So he says, "I want you to suffer like she suffered.
Damn.
No sentence would be enough for you. You deserve the same fate you handed Adrienne.
That's so sad.
You are nothing more than a cold-blooded killer, a murderous beast who, in an intent to rob, rape, and then silence your innocent victim, took the life of a beautiful, loving woman who, unlike you, had so much to give to society.
That's so sad.
And then when he says in remembering...
There's so much love in him, too.
And then when he says in remembering her, he says, Adrienne was the kindest, warmest, loving, generous person I knew. She was incredibly funny, smart, talented, a bright light, with an infectious laugh and a huge smile that radiated inner and outer beauty. She was my best friend and the person with whom I was supposed to grow old.
That's sad.
That's so sad.
What grow old with?
Well, that's the quote.
But how long did they know each other?
Andy
and Adrienne, like how long were they married at least?
I don't know. I didn't look it up.
That's so sad. Oh, is this the picture of Diego?
Yep. I couldn't find a good one of his face, but that's him when he was getting arrested.
He looks the stereotypical looking like a thug. Like,
I know.
yeah,
but he's 19 years old. And it's like, if you're having a bad day, like, oh my gosh, what a panic.
Wait, so what do you think happened then?
Well, I think it's probably a combination of all three stories. Mm-hmm. So in the first story, he's basically saying he had a bad day and he was freaking out. Mm-hmm. The second story, he says he wanted to rape her, basically, and then he followed her. And the third one says that he was trying to rob her.
Wanted to rob. Oh, the robbing was the third one?
Uh-huh. I think it's probably a combination of all of them. She very well could have complained about the sound, because, I mean, that apartment was her office, so she's doing work there.
Yeah.
So she could have complained about it in passing or something.
Right.
You know. I think it's probably a combination of all three somewhere. The truth is in there. But
I have a kind of thought of how the scenario could have went down, too. I think what could have happened is, yes, there was sound and she was complaining. I feel like she was probably a consistent complainer, too, especially because of her status and her trying, you know, she's about to come out with this movie and stuff. Like, she's working really hard. And I feel like...
Complainer, maybe not for the sake of being a complainer, but, like knowing that things need to be a certain way for her to get something done. Like, very passionate.
Yes. So I feel like it was very consistent, and it may have, you know, pissed him off, you know, and he probably seen her and was just like, you know, I'd hit that type of situation.
Yeah.
And then eventually, you know, one day he probably just had it with her, and he was just probably just angry, and, you know, financial situations. And he was like, when he figured out who she is, he's like, she has money. I think I'm going to go get that.
Do you think he even knew who she was?
Well, that's what I mean. I said, I think he figured it out eventually. Because, you know, she's working there. Because she was kind of famous at this time, wasn't she? She was an actress at this time?
She wasn't very famous. She had done more indie films.
Yeah, so I'm wondering, like, maybe he figured out something. Like, she has money, obviously. Like, he's thinking, like, oh, she got money. Because
I think at the very least he knew that she had some kind of money.
That's what I mean. Is I think he was just like, oh, she got money. Like, I'm struggling. I'm having a bad day. This bitch won't get off my back type of situation. Mm-hmm. So then when one day he decided to follow her, figure out where, you know, where she's at. And I think he broke in, or maybe even just went in, and he did pretty much, I think he probably knocked her out. Mm-hmm. I think he raped her. And then I also think he realized, oh, shit, like or maybe he tried to rape her and then knocked her out.
Yeah.
In the process, because, you know, she probably was like, hell no. And I think when he realized, oh shit, I think they killed her, you know, he was like, I need to frame it type of situation. So it looks like she hung herself, so there's no tie to me. Mm-hmm. And then he took the money and dipped. Yeah. That's what I think happened.
What messes me up is, like, clearly he was such a hard worker. Yeah. And he had gone through so much to get in this country.
Yeah.
That it's so sad.
It got wasted from one bad day.
All of that work. But also, like, you don't rape someone on a bad day.
You don't. And you shouldn't. It's wrong.
Like, that's not a bad day kind of thing. I had a
not.
bad day, so I accidentally yelled at somebody. It's not, I had a bad day, so I'm going to rape someone.
I'm going to stick my penis into someone who obviously wants nothing to do with me, and I'm going to violate them. Mm-hmm. Just because I'm having a bad day.
You don't do that on a bad day.
No. I don't care if you need sexual relief. Go jack off somewhere. Like, seriously.
Go take care of yourself. That's no way to deal with your bad day.
Exactly. So I don't know about, like, so what does it say? Where's he at now? Like, is he just serving? Mm-hmm. How's he doing? What's his deal? He's just in prison, just chilling? Mm-hmm. Piece of shit.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So my sources for this episode are, there's this podcast called Death in Hollywood. Mm-hmm. I watched a YouTube video by Georgia Marie. She has this series on her channel called The Midweek Mystery. Mm-hmm. I was looking at Murderpedia. And
in which I just discovered is a thing.
And Wikipedia. So if you want to read more about Adrienne Shelly and her life, and maybe look into, what made her mm-hmm. and her work. She's got some other great movies out there too. Yeah. And
if you guys have any recommendations on what you've seen of her, maybe you want us to check out, or you just mm-hmm. had some fun facts, let us know. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. So the connection of why I picked this episode mm-hmm. was the fact of
they thought that it was suicide.
The staged suicide, but also how adamant the family and loved ones were of how much they knew the victim mm-hmm. and knew that they wouldn't have committed suicide.
My thing is I was sitting there and I was like, a 40-year-old trying to literally, work on this bedsheet to create a noose for themselves. That must be exhausting.
But also
to do for yourself.
The main thing
like, even then, I don't think it would do it.
Women don't hang themselves.
Yes.
Women don't do that. Women will take drugs mm-hmm. and overdose.
Yes.
Maybe they'll cut their wrists.
Yeah.
But women don't hang themselves. And that's the biggest red flag to me of confused of why the police didn't look further. That women don't hang themselves. They just don't. I mean, obviously, there's probably some that have, but on average, you're not going to see that.
Do that. Mm-mm. Well, that was a sad one.
I know.
That was incredibly sad.
I know, it was a bummer. But you got to hear about her lovely life.
I did. And now I'm very intrigued. And now I feel like I should watch the Waitress movie now.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, that's the episode.
And that was the true crime segment, guys. Mm-hmm. I hope you guys enjoyed.
Yep. We're here.
We are here. We are here for you.
We'll be back again next week with the next episode, which is The Man and the Bear.
The Man and the Bear.
Yup.
Catch you guys next week.
Yep. If I don't know if this is going to be a catchphrase or not, but you know what? If we haven't turned you off by now, like if you're still here, hang out. Don't turn us off.
Let's hang.
Let's hang out.
Turn us on.
Turn us on.
Let us be in your speakers.
Keep us turned on.
Let us be in your ears. Mm-hmm. I don't mind crawling into your brain. Maybe your skull is made out of Elmer's glue too.
Let us live rent-free in your Elmer's glue constructed skull.
I would like that. Mm-hmm. I'd like that very much. Yes. Well,
thank you.
Thank you for listening.
Salutations.
Salutations.
And bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Next week on The Heart and the Bones.
That burger looked so juicy and delicious. Okay.
And it was human?
Yes, I felt so conflicted internally because I was like, man, that burger looks really, really good.
You can add that recipe to my cannibal cookbook.